Yeah,
Yeah, I'm starting the recording. Please, Myrto, the floor is yours.
perfect. Thank you so much. Um, could you please just confirm that you can see my screen?
I can see it.
Perfect. Let me know if there are any issues because I cannot see you. So if at some point it doesn't change or I don't know, there is anything wrong, just let me know. So, welcome everyone. As Sylvia mentioned, I'm going to lead this session on how to build your smart lab ecosystem. Mainly, we are going to focus on how to find the appropriate stakeholders, how to evaluate them, and of course, how to engage them in your smart lab. As far as I know, you have already discussed about the more technical and operational pillars of the smart lab. So let's see a little bit outside the technical part and let's focus a little bit more on people, if we may say. Stakeholders mapping, evaluation, and engagement strategies. This is the unit that addresses the systematic process of identifying, evaluating, engaging, and sustaining critical relationships for smart lab success. Learn how to build a vibrant ecosystem of mentors, industry partners, and policymakers who contribute their expertise, resources, and opportunities. As you can understand, it is apart from the technical part, apart from finding a space or the equipment, you need to find some ways to sustain your smart lab and exploit it, let's say, exploit your work in the broader ecosystem. This is what we are going to talk about today. The main learning objectives are identifying stakeholders, apply evaluation criteria, and develop engagement strategies. And the key focus is going to be on building networks, formalizing your partnerships, and maintaining the engagement. Let's begin with the learning objectives. First of all, we are going to see how to identify and categorize potential stakeholders. There are many different group of stakeholders or of people that might be interested in supporting your Fab Lab. So we are going to see how to identify these stakeholders, including different mentors, policymakers, industry players, educational institutions, and social enterprises. Then, after we find them and we map them in a document, let's say, we need to evaluate their suitability and readiness, drawing on a weight scoring framework. So not only we are going to evaluate on a qualitative perspective, but also I'm going to show you and explain to you a very practical chart on how to evaluate quantitatively their suitability. Then we're going to see how to develop some engagement strategies tailored to different stakeholder types. There might be some educational provider, there might be some companies, there might be municipalities. So each different type of stakeholder has a different engagement strategy. Then we're going to talk about how we can formalize these partnerships. For example, signing an agreement between us or a memorandum of understanding, something that can formalize our collaboration. Then implement network maintenance because it is not only about creating some partnerships with some stakeholders, but how are we going to sustain this network and keep your stakeholders engaged and committed in your smart lab. And then Uh, there is an activity on involving stakeholders in Smart Lab through defined roles, responsibilities, and ongoing participation opportunities. Before going to the next slide, just of course feel free to raise your hand or to turn your microphone on, and at any time you can ask me anything that you might need. So let's see why a stakeholder network matters for the smart labs. A smart lab, first of all, cannot operate individually, cannot operate as an individual mechanism. Its success depends on a vibrant ecosystem of mentors, industry partners, and policymakers who contribute their expertise, resources, and opportunities. Specifically, the Pulse project references this ecosystem approach of different contributors. First of all, we have the mentors. Mentors are people who can provide guidance, can share their experience, can offer their feedback, and build confidence. Industry partners, like for example, company representatives, startups representatives, etc. They offer the real world problems. They can understand you. They can host visits. They can provide different materials and recruit your graduates. Then we have the policymakers, the most challenging part of the stakeholders. They enable the regulatory support. They access, of course, through them you can access funding, and they provide the institutional legitimacy. Then we have the educational institutions. They can share their expertise, provide student pathways, collaborate on the curriculum. And then we also have the social enterprises. They address the community needs, they offer purpose-driven projects, and they model the social impact. This last point is very important because talking from a perspective of a social partner, it is very important also to measure somehow your social impact. This will make your smart lab more attractive to different stakeholders, policymakers, etc. Here we have the categories of stakeholders in a smart lab ecosystem. What do we need in order to implement our smart lab in the ultimate, let's say, way? We need the skills development centers. So we want vet providers with expertise. We want everyone that is coming from an educational background. We want stakeholders that are falling under the educational umbrella. Then we also need the incubation and acceleration programs. These organizations support early stage entrepreneurs through mentorship, funding, and workspace. That means that from the beginning of your project, you can have a support in order to develop it in a more detailed or in a more expanded version. Then we have the governmental stakeholders. For example, ministries, agencies, and public bodies that shape policy and provide funding, offering regulatory support. This is very, very important once your business idea or once your project is going a step forward. It is very important to have good connections with your local or regional and national governmental actors in order to get all the accreditations that you might need, all the certifications and everything. Then the universities, they provide the academic institutions, they provide the research and expertise that it is needed, the technical experience and the student population. Then we have the industries and private sector representatives that are mostly companies that offer real world problems. They can share with you their experience. It is a more let's say, peer-to-peer collaboration. Then we have the humanitarian and social enterprises, mostly NGOs that are addressing community needs. And then we have the makers ecosystem, existing maker spaces, fab labs, and community workshops offering peer learning, shared resources, and community connections. Let's see now the evaluation criteria. Let's say that we have found the one different stakeholder from all the categories. How are we going to determine if these stakeholders are suitable, or if we need to find new ones? We have the facilities and user criteria, fitting in the smart lab identity, users with relevant skills, accessibility to multiple groups, available equipment and facilities, operational capabilities. These are all under the facilities criteria. And I would say that it is the more technical dimension. And then we have the team and ecosystem criteria, which is actually technical skills of the team, financial sustainability, relevance of the activities, part of the entrepreneurship ecosystem, and of course the availability of funding. These are two different dimensions, but they are highly connected. Let's explain now a little bit the scoring system for evaluating your stakeholder. As you can see in this table, and probably you have already seen it in your own way, in your own time, we have different criteria that they have different way and score. So as you can see on the table in the right here, the score with the weight, they have the weighted score. For example, the smart lab, the fitting in the smart lab has a 15% weight. So if we multiply it with the score, 8 out of 10, it goes 1.20. How to interpret now your results? Here you see that we have different categories like excellent, good, moderate, and poor. Of course, this is a quantitative way to evaluate your stakeholder, although this is not something that we only need to think about when assessing and evaluating a stakeholder. We need to think all the different dimensions or all the different pillars that one stakeholder bring, and then of course we can have a more holistic opinion and evaluation on the stakeholder. Now let's go to the interesting part now, which is the engagement strategy. The engagement strategies should be tailored to different stakeholder types, understanding what motivates each category to participate in your smart lab activities. This has also to do with the type of your project, the topic of your project, your vision on it. So you need to think about different strategies for different stakeholder types. For example, for the mentors, it might be working that some personal invitations or personal one-to-one meetings with them is working much more, rather than just having impersonal emails or just receiving newsletters. So you need to invest a little bit of time on developing a tailor-made engagement strategy for every stakeholder. This will save you more time at a later stage, that you will have candidates for engaging your stakeholders in your smart lab. Here you can see a 4-step process for identifying, approaching, and engaging mentors for having a successful smart lab. First of all is the identification. As we also mentioned, it is very important to search your mentors in networks or in different providers, companies, policy making bodies that you might have access to. For example, associations, chambers of commerce, vet institutions, professional networks like through LinkedIn, alumni, whatever access you have, you can search your potential stakeholder there. Then the second step is to approach them. Make a little research on them. This will matter a lot. Acknowledge their expertise and success. Take some time to prepare your pitch. It is very important to explain your vision, your smart labs vision. Describe the specific needs and outline time and commitment that is expected from their side. Of course, invite them for an initial conversation to explore the potential fit and collaboration. Then, third step, value. It is the opportunity to give back to the next generation. Enhance leadership and communication skills, recognition and visibility in the community, access to emerging talent and ideas. Last but not least, we have the support system, orientation and training sessions, regular check ins and support meetings, resource materials and templates that you can also keep for your next projects, recognition events and appreciation, peer networking among mentors. For the industry players, the level of engagement of industry players is a little bit more challenging. The companies do not usually invest a lot of time in having meetings with people that they want to begin and initiate your project. They are mostly on the side of let's make this done. So in order to approach them, you need to be visible, to make them aware of your project and your smart lab by receiving newsletters or attend open events. Then you can, little by little, you can start having some connection with them and potentially some consultation. Invite them, participate in advisory groups, provide their feedback, and start building the connections with them. Then the next step is to ask them for contribution, like provide guest speakers, host tours, or donate equipment. At that time, you have already built a very good connection and relationship with them. This will bring you to the final stage, which is the partnership, like fund scholarships or sponsor challenges or offer internships. This will have a direct talent pipeline, and of course, it will be a huge advantage for you. Let's go now to the policymakers type of stakeholders. As I mentioned in the beginning, for me, is the most challenging one. But why it is important to have the policymakers in your list? They can address youth employment and employability. They can be the monitoring system, let's say, or they can be controlling the skills development. Of course, they can provide economic growth and competitiveness. Last but not least, they are the ones who promote the equal opportunity for all citizens. Some key messages that you can also transfer to them. Smart labs bridge education employment by equipping vet students with entrepreneurial skills and creating pathways from education to employment. Or smart labs drive entrepreneurship and innovation, contributing to national economic development strategies. You need to give them to understand that your project is not only a one-off activity that will end after the funding is over. You need to convince them that it is something, it is a project, it is an outcome, a product that will make a change, a policy change in a local, regional, or national level. How to initiate some engagement activities, make some site visits, or invite them in different events, or have some joint announcement, share some data that you have come up with after a research or an analysis, invite them as advisory participants, and of course share with them or collaborate with them in order to produce some policy briefs. How now? Let's see now how to formalize your partnership. Let's say that you have found your ideal stakeholder. Let's say that everything is going well with your collaboration, but at some point, both of you need to ensure that you are on the same page. You are both you are both committed to collaborate, and of course you are committed as well to sustain this partnership within your smart lab ecosystem. Both parties need to agree under an agreement, like a formal agreement or memorandum of understanding. How to do that, or what it is needed for you to do that? First of all, establish the parties with who are signing this agreement. Then you need to clearly define the purpose and the scope of the agreement. Also very clearly and in detail map and develop the roles and responsibilities of each party. Then you need to define the way of collaboration, like the governance mechanism under your collaboration. Of course, the duration and determination of your agreement, any additional provisions that might be needed from both sides, like confidentiality, intellectual property, liability, and insurance. And last but not least, which is the best part, have your authorized representatives sign this agreement. This is something that you will that it will be appreciated, and it will also give you the courage to continue working on your smart lab. Now let's see some mechanisms for stakeholder involvement and roles in smart lab implementation. More or less, we have discussed about it in the previous slides, but don't forget that stakeholders can be involved also in simple activities that your organization or your smart lab might implement, like some consultation workshops, roundtables, multi-stakeholder events, advisory roles, mentorship, resource provision, and network participation. As we also mentioned in the beginning, the stakeholder roles in a smart lab are the following: mentors, industry representatives, policymakers, education representatives, and social enterprise. Let's say that you have found your stakeholder, you have signed your agreement, and the time is passing. Your smart lab is developing, everything is doing well. Let's see now how you can maintain your network and how you can keep your stakeholders engaged, committed, and interested. First of all, regular communication and engagement is the key here. Monthly or quarterly newsletters, recognition and awards, feedback loops, networking events, regularly meetings either in person or online, exchange of emails in case you need some feedback for something. Don't be afraid to contact directly your network. This is why you have structured it. Then, of course, it is very important to share your progress on reporting and renewal. For example, you can share some biannual or annual progress reports, share your data or the impact of your smart lab. Then start already to talk about renewal of your agreement once you are approaching the end of the first period of the first contract. And then, of course, some key success factors are the consistent communication, regular updates and touch points, meaningful engagement, provide value to stakeholders, and mutual benefit, ensure some win-win relationships. In case you are interested in re-engage your stakeholders, don't be afraid, don't hesitate to have some one-to-one check-in with them in order to understand if there is any issue, if there are any challenges or concerns. Adjust commitments, modify the expectations if needed. Lower barrier options, offer new participation opportunities. You need to be flexible while contacting different stakeholders. Public recognition, acknowledge past contributions. Assess the natural closure. Consider if partnership has run its course. If you see any of the following warning signs, like fewer replies or missed meetings or reduced contributions or low initiative, be already aware that your stakeholders are somehow lacking of engagement. So you need either to prevent that by consistent communication with them, or you need to directly talk to them and find a way of adapting your agreement and collaboration. This is an exercise for mapping your stakeholder ecosystem. I assume that you have already done it during the asynchronous part of this session, so I will go forward, which is actually the end of the session. If there are any questions, do not hesitate. I believe that it is quite important not only to invest on your equipment, idea, technical and operational structure of your smart lab, but also invest in people. This will be the key for success for your smart lab.
Thank you very much, Myrto, for the session. It was very interesting. I saw a question in the chat. I think was done by Ali. Yes. Hi. He was saying that the stakeholders criteria is not very clear. Sorry, Ali, I didn't um, make the question before because I wanted to wait the end of the session.
Okay.
So maybe just for Myrto, I think he wants to know some clarification related to the stakeholders criteria.
Okay. Hi, Ali, first of all. Nice to see
Hello.
you again. You mean the evaluation criteria?
Yes.
How to evaluate them? Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Myrto, for your descriptive details. In fact, it is a really important stage for the stakeholder engagement and criteria of selection and cooperation. I am really a bit confused on stakeholders definition at the beginning. What do you mean by stakeholders related to our organization, for example? Do you mean that it is local schools, for example, and vet providers, or governmental organizations, NGOs? This is what I understand. And for the criteria you just mentioning, it's about what the objectives that we are adopting for doing evaluation or selection criteria, because once they are already providing VIT, they will be a potential stakeholder for us.
Yeah, so that's what I also mentioned during this slide, that the evaluation criteria might not be the same for everyone, might not be the same for either for every project or for every type of stakeholder. So, for example, you need to, first of all, you need to think if your stakeholder, like a vet school or a company that you have selected, if their mission is aligned with your smart lab purpose, if they can benefit from your smart lab, if they can have, they can provide you population or beneficiaries that can access the facility, what existing resources can be leveraged, or if the stakeholder can sustain your smart lab. So it is a little bit vague, this palette of different evaluation criteria, and need to be adjusted according to the type of the stakeholder, of course, and the topic or the project of your smart lab.
Yes, but I mean, we need to set up some list of questions that need to be answered to collect that value you calculated in submission with the two values I think I see that you are using to calculate the criteria?
For example, here in slide number 6, you can see this question that I already told you, like, does the stakeholders' mission align with the smart lab purpose, or does the team have expertise to support the smart lab activities? This table has been created based on research material. It is not something that I have created from my mind, of course. I don't have this expertise, but it is something that has been extracted from already existing research.
Yeah. So this is not an official equation that we need to follow. It's just kind of description.
Exactly. It is an idea, or it is a mechanism that you can also use in order to evaluate your stakeholders. It is not written in stone. This is flexible. So once you select your stakeholder, you can also make your own search to see if they fit your smart lab and your project.
So if I consider that the two critical factors I need to use in order to select which is most appropriate stakeholders, they will be our collaborators. Could I see, for example, to decide according to the value and the benefit, what the benefit we will have in being in partner with them, and what the value that we can deliver within this kind of stakeholders collaboration. For example, if some company is active in the ground in the society, but they don't have the infrastructure facilities. So we use this collaboration to get engaged in their famous names, their engagement in the society, big number of students, but they also have the value of using our lab that can serve their participants.
Exactly. Yes, that's right.
Okay, this is clear. It's kind of vice versa. What they benefit from us and what we.
Yes, I mentioned like a little bit later. It's a relationship that we need to establish. It is not only one party winning from it. It is something that needs to be equally beneficial for both parties, the stakeholder and the smart lab.
Yeah, so it will be like positive and negative. It's not always we positive all the time.
Exactly.
Okay, and regarding to the lab, you mentioned the lab. Do you mean the lab that we're gonna set up by buying these infrastructure devices for our centers, for example, like computers, monitors, and other equipments, softwares, for example? Or do you mean other definition of the lab?
No, it can be your business idea or your project or the equipment as well. I mean, it is also a broad term. I don't refer to something very specific.
Because using lab is a common in the Erasmus project, but in each project there have some different definition. And for example, our project, the lab could be projects or idea, but what I understand, the lab is a physical, tangible devices, infrastructure, machines, computers, laptops, smart monitors, smart screens. So do you mean this lab that other people can use our facilities, which is provided by the projects? As you know, there is some budget allocated for establishing a lab, right?
Yes.
Do you mean this lab?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a strategy that we could find the partners first and then decide which kind of lab that could serve our strategy with the partnership with those people.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, last question regarding to the lab. As we know that the work packages, they have some activities. One of the work packages, I think it should be just coming soon, within months, I think, is to starting a facilitation of these labs, isn't it? To buy the lab, isn't it?
Yes, Sylvia, I would also appreciate your input here. But
Sorry,
I
I
can't
haven't
remember
heard
yet.
because a colleague was calling me. What did you ask?
Asking about the work packages where the lab should be provided and the budget should be allocated for the partners to buy the infrastructure devices for these labs. Is this part of what we are preparing to be engaged on connection with the local stakeholders first, or we should start establishing the lab first?
I don't know if I get it correctly. If you have to establish first the lab or what? The network within your.
Yes, with the stakeholders mentioned by Myrto.
I don't think it's like a rigid distinction. Like I think it's a bit up to the organization. Also, I mean, when it comes to the budget, there's not a timing exactly because since it's a lump sum, it's a bit up to you and
No,
it
I
might.
mean, when I start communication with the stakeholders, talking about our lab that we are established under the collaboration with the Plus projects, there is no lab. In fact, there is no lab so far. So which lab I will speak with the stakeholders about to see which benefit and value could be created from being engaged together in that partnership.
Okay. But I believe you have something similar, even if it's not called the Smart Lab, or otherwise, this is the occasion, the project to build it and to purchase the tools to have it.
Yes, yes. The project is providing budget about 7,000 something, is related to some centers from in Tunis and Libya and Morocco, I think, to
Yes.
establish their own local lab. So
Yes.
I believe the logic of my understanding is to establish the lab first, to understand the benefit of this lab we created under the budget of the project, and then we invite potential stakeholders to be seen in our organization to show how we can get benefit and value from each other.
Yes, that might be I mean, a solution. Yes. So I don't understand what is the question. Sorry. I'm a bit
Yes,
lost.
I can see. It may
There
be
is a part
it's
of the
maybe
budget that you will dedicate to purchase the tools for the Smart Lab.
Yeah.
to
I
build,
mean, the
let's
lab,
say.
what I believe, the lab come first,
Mm.
then starting engaging with partnership communication and partnership deal, it will become after the lab establishment.
Yes.
Yeah, Sylvia, if I may, to my mind, it makes more sense because you will have something handy already created. If you just go to a potential stakeholder just with an idea, there might be not a lot to explore in terms of collaboration. But once you have something established already, then I believe that it will be much easier to discuss on a collaboration framework.
Yes, we already have that. We already engaged with our current facilities with other partners, but the contribution, I mean, from Plus projects should be just seen to show that these labs is being under the collaboration and the Pulse projects and funded by EU, and to show the extra contribution and value from being part of the project. Other infrastructure lab, we already have it just around, so it's already ongoing.
Okay,
Yes.
good for you then.
Of course, we are aware of the fact that something similar to the Smart Lab is more or less present in each of the organization because it's something that either
I think
Smart Lab.
this might be discussed in the coordination meeting.
Yes,
More
even
details.
yeah, okay, of course.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you very much. I make you confused. Don't worry.
No, it's okay.
Not a problem. Thank you, Ali.
Okay. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thanks, Ali. Are there other question or curiosity for Myrto, things that you would like to ask?
Mhm.
If
Um,
so, raise the hand or like just start speaking, but
yes. Hello, dear all. I hope you are doing well. Is Selwa here? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very interesting. Mr. President, we call him Mr. President, Mr. Ali. He is a bit confused that I can understand from Smart Lab and Prototyping Lab, maybe. We were not sure in which way we are going. You can correct me. But maybe also, because he was talking about work package, I think we need to see this in the coordination meeting, to see to which work package it will be linked. And also for the investment, it means, I think, material investment. But I was like thinking, I don't know, Madame Eraki, she's with us, maybe she can help me. Which kind of material? Is it more to develop the first prototype for a project, entrepreneurial one, or is it just to make testing? It's good. Maybe it could be very interesting for both of us, like with the intelligence group, to work on it and to find, let's say, a modelisation for this, the best one that could work for both of us. I mean, Morocco, Libya, and Tunisia. Could be also very interesting if one of our other partners, like Sonia or Madame Eraqi, they are with us, if they can give also their opinion on this. But I believe could be interesting if we have a laboratory to develop prototype. But we need to focus which kind of prototypes, and it will be just like a gaming laboratory that will allow the entrepreneurial students, especially the young ones, to make simulation of their projects. Maybe I'm just thinking with a louded voice, but I think it could be very interesting if we can discuss all of us and find something interesting for all of us. Thank you very much. It was just to share one opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salua. Actually, it is very valid, your point. As far as I know, there will be also some time to work on your ideas or on thinking and brainstorming on where are you going to invest this funding that is available from the project during the study visit in Greece. So in honesty, we already
Okay.
have a small smart lab, like the Astro Lab, as we call it, that we support entrepreneurs to begin their projects, to begin their business ideas, and we support them with any means we have. During this week in Athens, in Greece, I think that you can take some ideas of our function. You can see
Super.
what we do, and you can assess if this is something that fit your needs, if it is something just to take as an inspiration, and then you can go back to your countries, to your schools, to your companies, and try to adapt this inspiration, this idea to your needs and to your reality.
Okay. Could be a very good idea to benchmark and to see what's going on there. Thank you very much
Thank you too
for
for
your
sharing your
clarifications.
reflection.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I just may, because I need to support the idea of Salwa, as it is sharing the mind. So she and us and everyone could share the concepts of what kind of a common benefit and common valued labs that we can also share sometimes the same capabilities to see that we have a partner institution and we have the same level of base technology for these kind of labs. And sometimes some experienced institution, they have good background about the past of what is good and what is have provide or contributed a high positive results. So we can transfer this experience to our organization instead of going to find something new or to create a new idea. It's better to use what already exists and success and have KPIs, which is measured and feasible, tangible one. And thank you, Salwa, for this contribution idea. I really support and appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Ali. And yours also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. I don't know if there are other questions. In any case, of course, we will bring this topic to the coordination meeting. And yes, if there are other questions, please go ahead. Otherwise, we close. Okay, I believe it's okay. So thank you all. Thanks, Myrto. See you next week
Thank you all.
for the other session at the same times. But as always, we will send you a reminder. And between today and tomorrow, I will upload the recording of this session in the platform and in the drive.
Okay.
Perfect.
Have a nice
Thank you all,
evening.
and
Thank you,
happy
Myrto.
to
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.